Greetings, Faith. I wanted to bring you up to speed on our plans for the month of May. We know that you're hearing all of the same concerns and engaged in a lot of the same debates that we are. And so as a leadership, we thought it was time to share with you what our thoughts are for this coming month and let you know that we're not really making big plans beyond 1 month at a time. As you know, the information, the landscape, the considerations are changing on a daily basis. And Maine in particular is receiving some extra attention for the decisions that are being made for our state. And so what we've been doing is weighing out with our colleagues. We've been listening to what other churches are doing. We've been staying in touch with those that represent our evangelical voice in the state and listening on the legal side. We have good friends that are involved in the government in Augusta. And so all of these things, this is coming into us and we're processing all this information. And we know that different churches are moving at different paces when it comes to this. Faith has a few special considerations that we need to make that would prevent us from just doing what we would want to do immediately and all those kinds of things. So it's all in this whole ball of wax that we're considering. What we want to promote to you for the month of May is that group life begins to resume. While we will not be able to open up our public services to the majority of the church anytime soon, what we want to encourage is that small groups reconvene if they are comfortable. We've already heard from some of our group leaders that they won't be able to reconvene at this time, and of course they've received our full support. But for those of you groups that are ready to get back together, we think that you should. We think that you should practice the guidelines and directives that are given to us while this thing is still out there swirling around, regardless of the decisions on how we roll all these things out. We know that there's an aspect of this that is still very real. And so we want you to operate based on your convictions and your conscience. But we also are encouraging groups, if you're able to and ready, to begin resuming activity. If your homes are not conducive to being able to be spread out enough or something along those lines, Pastor Tom has made a couple of our areas of the church building available based on a scheduling basis. We would love for you to come and use those facilities so that your group can meet. But we are recommending that those groups are 10 people or less. And so we're looking to get a little bit creative. We're looking to use our church building again. We're hoping that you open up your homes and invite your neighbors and your friends into them for your groups to resume. Closely related to that, we would also like to suggest that as we continue to put together our Sunday morning services available on Facebook and YouTube, that maybe it's time for us to open our doors and get together with some of our friends and family in our homes and worship together, to do this in a smaller community, but still with others. And gather around the screen and just partake in that together and just make an event of it. We believe that that the time is now for those things to happen. Now, we understand that the pace of this rollout and this first phase of what we're talking about at Faith, for some of you, this is not moving fast enough. For some of you, you feel like the time was yesterday to make a giant stand. We understand that. We've heard all your concerns, and many of those same concerns we share. For others of you, you would say this is way too soon, that the church should not be promoting that groups get together because there's still a virus out there, and we understand those fears as well. That's why we've decided that as a church of our size, that we are going to roll this out in a prudent manner rather than just stepping on the gas pedal full force or slamming the brake altogether, that there's a way to accomplish a little bit of both and to move forward patiently, cautiously, but still courageously. Now, this is, like I said before, a plan for the month of May. There's no telling what new information we'll get and what other considerations we'll have to make, but rest assured the leadership is in constant communication about these things, and we're willing to shift on a dime. We have a great kind of nimble decision-making process, if you will, and we are able to make some of these changes, provided that we are still meeting our obligations and meeting our commitments. We are getting advice and counsel. We've been so blessed on our leadership team to have special insights to some of the things that are happening in Augusta, to a perspective on the historical context and legal context of how these things roll out. We have medical information coming into us and stuff, and so Faith is very blessed to be able to make these decisions from a very well-informed position. And so it doesn't mean we'll make perfect decisions. It doesn't mean that we even believe we have a great handle on this, but we feel very confident that the decision that we're making at the time is the wise one for our church and our church only. What our neighbor churches want to do or don't want to do, they still have our full support, because we are, as everyone is saying over and over again, we are definitely in this together. So God bless you guys. We are praying for you. We miss you terribly. We wish all of this were just over and we could get back to church. We could get back to doing the things that we love and that we miss. But there is a benefit to this. There is a silver lining, if you will, is that the more that we miss this thing that we so often take for granted, then maybe the more that we'll appreciate it when we do get back together, and the Lord will have our full attention through this process. So thank you so much for keeping the faith, and I pray for you daily to stay involved in the cause of Christ, to be willing to carry your cross, and to walk in compassion and love for your neighbor. Continue to pray for us. We really do covet your prayers, and we'll continue to pray for you. We love you, Faith, and we'll see you soon.